So you're probably wondering why I'm looking at the artboard instead of, well, a piece of paper on the artboard, instead of me, why I'm using the higher quality camera. I'm doing something a little special for this next week. Where's my pencil? I'm only going to use the pencil and a Sharpie marker because I don't really need to hold on to these very long. I can't get these into shot. Not easy working backwards like this, but just using these two items, I am going to, this week, talk about my characters. Because, after all, if I'm doing Art Soundoff, and starting off on my art, I should be talking about the people I'm making art about right now. So, for the next week, I'm going to be talking about the characters in Jake and Leon, my comic strip that I do on my website every Sunday. And we're going to start with the character who started it all, Jake. So, one thing that I've learned about this art style, I figured out maybe the past couple of days. Let me see if I can get this a little closer here. So make sure you guys see, because I don't know with the pencil what's going to happen. Shoot, hang on. Alrighty. Well, one thing I've learned is that where I place the eye that's always facing the audience kind of matters in this art style. So, see that coming out on camera well enough? Yeah. Push down a little bit though, because you're not going to see. Okay. Sorry for setting up for this. Okay, so I've actually talked about already how I came up with Jake. This was just the original design that turned into what I do now for Jake. Actually just started out as me kind of goofing around with a different kind of art style, something a little speedier. And as I continued to do it, I did it once the first time and it looked really good. So I tried to replicate it. And it was not looking good. It kind of sucked. And so I tried it a whole bunch of times and I couldn't get it to work. So I said, the heck with it. I went to bed. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Maybe that'll help too. Where's this zoom control here? Okay. And so I went to bed, and then the next day I came home from work and I tried it again. And it wasn't exactly the same, but I was a little more satisfied with the result. And so I did some more work with it, and then I decided to give him a friend, and we'll discuss his friend tomorrow. I'm not really sure why I came up with the idea of having this little piece of hair here. I don't know, you probably see it better once I get into once I do the Sharpie. But sometimes the hair connects here, sometimes it doesn't. You know, depends on whether or not he's gotten a haircut. That kind of little inconsistency between strips I don't mind too much, because if your character's hair grows, they get haircuts, it helps us stand out a little bit. And we gotta make sure to get shoulders in. Let's tape out of the way. His arm. Draw the body here. And draw the there, and then I can always fix the better arm here. I can always ignore that when I do the inking, or I could always, if I wanted to, use one of my multiple different kinds of erasers. And what is it? I usually use a confuse myself later. Usually use a mechanical pencil and one of these, I'm not sure if I can find here, but one of these little kneading erasers. I can get in shot here. Turn this up a bit here so you can get a little light. I like this. Although I think I need to wet it or something because it's getting harder to work. I'm going to take it downstairs, drip a little water on it and see if that softens it up a little. Don't want to do it too much. Jake represents kind of represent my positive side, I guess, my creative side, because he is a cartoonist. This whole thing here with his eyelids, that's a kind of a leftover. When I was first doing the strip, I didn't have eyebrows in the characters. So, I don't know why I didn't have eyebrows, but, so I would emote with the eyelids. Which I still kind of do now with another character we'll be seeing, but she's a special case. With this one, it just seemed kind of weird to do it that way, because we don't emote with our eyelids. We emote with our eyebrows. But he's a little more positive. He's not happy-go-lucky necessarily, but he kind of tries to look at the bright side of things. He tries to hope things get better, and he's very creative. A lot of times we'll have in strips when I've seen him at his art desk. But it just represents a little more positivity. A little of the more humorous skits are the ones he directly hosts, or at least they're supposed to be his idea. He has more of the more positive responses to things, a little more humorous. Where Leon's is a little more. We'll get more into him tomorrow. I overdid the line there. Shouldn't have. Kind of thing I would usually pull out when I scan it into Manga Studio, but since I don't have Manga Studio available, we're going to color in. Oh, I put this in the wrong spot. You're going to color him with coloring pencils. One thing about this style is it really doesn't have. It's very simplistic. Like I said, I came up with it. Did I get that right? Yeah. Came up with the idea of something I could do quickly. That way, if I can't think of a story idea, comic idea until the last minute, I have a little extra time to make it happen. Sharpening? No, I don't know. No, there's enough there. I don't really color much, though, because I have this nasty habit of leaving too much white in there. Much space. I don't cover the whole thing very well. It's something I need to work on. Oh, shoot, I forgot something. Hang on. Sorry, Jake. I forgot your little weird hair clump. I don't know why. I think maybe because at the time I had it a little bit longer and it just seemed like his hair was sticking out from the side of his head and you can't really see me, so I don't know why it was like too close. It seemed like his hair was kind of sticking out a little far, so I kind of put this thing there. I don't know why, and I don't know how I would ever render that in 3D or something. And I should have erased my pencil lines. Hang on. Make it look nice and cleaner on camera. Bring yourself up, Jake, here. He looks a little different than the original design for him, and frankly that's the case for Leon as well. The others, there have been some minor tweaking, but they're mostly the same. But I think just because the hosts here have been in the strip longer, so they've little tip I picked up from a web series called Proco. Was introduced Christian Savasov and PC Weenies linked to something he'd done. What I like to do is one of the guys who got me interested in cartooning was a guy named Bruce Blitz. He had a show on public broadcasting, and he had these color stick things. They're kind of like coloring pencils, but there's a big, huge stick. I want to get one of those. Okay. Why is Jake blonde? I have no idea. I just decided to make him blonde. So he became blonde. I'm going to keep my own shadow from blocking my view here. The problem with this, the art caddy I have now, sometimes things get in the way of everything else. Just make him give him a new shirt. And that's pretty much Jake. He's a cartoonist, he's a happier character, he's my positive side. Not that he was intended that way when I made the comic. I first made the comic because I needed to... I needed something to open up my weekly comic reviews. And at the time, I was just kind of running out of openings for it. So I developed this art style, so I said, hey, why don't I do a comic strip with this? So I did a poll to see if anybody cared, and as usual, nobody even cared to take part in the poll. Kind of par for the course on my site. I think the most people have ever taken part in a poll I've done is like 11 views. And there we go. So, and then when I ran out of I couldn't do the weekly comic anymore because it was taking up way too much time on the weekends, I turned the comic review daily, and I started doing a weekly list of different articles to check out, and that was turning out to be just as time consuming. So I said the heck with it. I created the morning article link, which is currently being interrupted by Art Soundoff. And I gave Jake and Leon their own comic. The Sunday posting is now completely theirs, with just a few updates on things that are going on. But that's Jake, and you come back tomorrow. There we go. You'll get to see how I make Leon, and why I made Leon, and why he was not originally Leon. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this first peek into why I created things in my comic and why things are, and how my came up with the ideas for characters and everything else. And we'll be doing that all week. And if you liked what you saw, then maybe you like things everyone else is talking about as well. Go to twitter.com, look up the hashtag Art Soundoff, and check out all the other Art Soundoff participants. And if you decide you want to take part yourself, as long as November exists, you're still allowed to take part, as far as I know. You can go to leantoart.com/artsoundoff and check out what everybody else is talking about, and check a bunch of prompts and ways to set up your own Art Soundoff. And if you want to see more of my nonsense, including the weekly comic strip that this guy headlines and his friend will be looking at tomorrow, then go to bwspotlight.com. But until then, I wish you happy creating.